The Silent Harvest captain Elena Vasquez woke to absolute silence. After 15 years of military service, she had learned to trust her instincts, and something was terribly wrong. The familiar sound of Rex's breathing was missing from the foot of her bed. Her loyal border collie never strayed far from her side, especially not at night. "Rex?" she called softly, sitting up in the darkness of her San Diego apartment. No response. No patting of paws across the hardwood floor. No gentle whine of acknowledgement. Elena switched on the bedside lamp and found herself staring at Rex's empty bed. His favorite tennis ball sat untouched beside his water bowl. The sliding door to the balcony remained locked from the inside. There was no way he could have left. Her phone buzzed with an emergency alert. Then another. Within minutes, her device was flooded with notifications. Social media exploded with frantic posts from around the globe. Every domesticated dog on Earth had vanished. The reports poured in from every continent. Family pets, service dogs, working dogs, strays, all gone without a trace. No signs of struggle, no broken doors or windows. They had simply disappeared between one moment and the next, as if they had never existed at all. Elena dressed quickly in her naval uniform and drove to the Marine Corps base where she served as an intelligence officer. The roads were chaos. People wandered the streets, calling for their missing companions. Children cried for pets that had slept beside them hours earlier. The loss was universal and devastating. At the base, Admiral Morrison had already assembled the crisis team. His usually composed face showed signs of strain. "Captain Vasquez, thank you for coming quickly. We need our best minds on this." "Any theories, sir?" Elena asked, taking her seat at the briefing table. "None that makes sense," Morrison replied grimly. "Every military installation, every secure facility, every locked building, the dogs are gone from all of them. No technology on Earth could accomplish this scale of simultaneous removal." Lieutenant Commander Hayes, the base's technology specialist, looked up from his tablet. "Sir, we're getting reports of unusual energy readings detected by our deep space monitoring stations. The patterns began approximately 6 hours ago, just before the disappearances." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "Are you suggesting extraterrestrial involvement?" Before Hayes could answer, every communication device in the room activated simultaneously. Radios, phones, computers, even the emergency broadcast system all began transmitting the same signal. A low, harmonic tone that seemed to resonate in their bones was followed by a voice speaking in perfect English. "Inhabitants of the third planet of this system, we greet you. I am Ambassador Zethka of the Kytherian Collective. Your species' emotional distress has been noted and is unexpected." The room fell silent except for the alien voice continuing through every speaker. "We have collected specimens of the canine species for our xenobiological research program. These creatures showed remarkable genetic diversity and adaptive capabilities. We were unaware of their significance to your civilization." Admiral Morrison found his voice first. "This is Admiral Morrison of the United Earth Defense Forces. You have committed an act of aggression against our planet. We demand immediate return of the animals you have taken." Aggression. The alien's tone carried what might have been amusement. "We have simply gathered research subjects. Your species' attachment to these animals is fascinating but irrelevant to our scientific pursuits. They are being well cared for in our facilities." Elena stepped forward, her voice steady despite the rage building inside her. "These aren't just animals to us. They're family members, companions, partners. Some of them save human lives every day. You've torn apart millions of families." "Curious," Zethkar responded. "Our preliminary studies suggested a simple symbiotic relationship. The canines provided basic services in exchange for food and shelter. We did not detect the emotional complexity you describe." "Then you don't understand humanity at all," Elena said firmly. "These dogs aren't possessions or servants. They're our friends, our protectors, our children. Many of us would die for them, and they for us." There was a pause before the alien spoke again. We have underestimated your species' capacity for interspecies bonding. However, our research must continue. The specimens will be returned once our studies are complete. How long? Admiral Morrison demanded. Approximately 50 of your years. The dogs will live comfortable lives in our care. The connection ended abruptly, leaving the room in stunned silence. 50 years. Most of the dogs would be dead by then, and their human companions would have spent their lives grieving that Elena's hands clenched into fists. Somewhere in space, Rex was probably confused and frightened, wondering why she hadn't come for him. The thought of her loyal companions suffering in an alien laboratory made her blood boil. Sir, she said, her voice carrying the determination that had made her a decorated officer, I volunteer to lead a rescue mission. Morrison stared at her. Captain, we don't even know where they are. Our deepest space capabilities barely reach Mars. Then we learn. We adapt. We build what we need. Elena's voice grew stronger. These aliens made one critical mistake. They don't understand the bond between humans and dogs. That bond has driven human civilization forward for thousands of years. It's made us better hunters, better farmers, better protectors. It's taught us loyalty, sacrifice, and unconditional love. She stood straighter, addressing the entire room. They think they've taken our pets, but they've actually taken our partners, our family, and there's nothing humans won't do to protect their family. Over the following days, the global response was unprecedented. Nations that had been at odds for decades united in common purpose. Resources were pooled, scientists collaborated without concern for borders or politics, and military forces coordinated as one. The dogs had been humanity's companions for over 30,000 years. They had helped humans survive ice ages, build civilizations, and explore new worlds. Now, it was humanity's turn to rescue them. Elena found herself at the center of a rapidly expanding international effort. The world's brightest minds worked around the clock to decode the energy signatures left by the Kytherian ships. Manufacturing plants switched from consumer goods to spacecraft components. Former enemies shared their most classified technologies to Dr. Sarah Chun, a physicist from Beijing, approached Elena with the breakthrough they needed. We've located them, she announced, exhaustion and excitement warring in her voice. The energy trail leads to a research station in the Centauri system, 4.5 light years away. Do we have the technology to get there? Elena asked. We will, Dr. Chin replied. Every nation is contributing. The fusion drives from Russia, navigation systems from Japan, life support from the European Union, hull design from America. We're building something that has never existed before. Elena nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility and hope. How long? 6 months to build, 2 years to reach them. It was a long time, but it was hope. Elena thought of Rex, probably wondering why she hadn't come for him yet. She made a silent promise to her companion and to all the dogs waiting in alien laboratories. We're coming, she whispered to the stars. The project, codenamed Homeward Bound, became the largest international cooperation in human history. Elena trained with the best pilots and tacticians from around the world. The ship they were building, the U.S. Loyalty, was unlike anything humanity had ever created. It was fast, well-armed, and equipped with everything they would need for a rescue mission across the galaxy. Elena stood in the shipyard watching the final components being installed. She felt something she hadn't experienced since the disappearance. She felt the presence of Rex, faint but unmistakable, like a whisper in her mind. It was impossible, but she knew her dog was still alive and somehow, impossibly, trying to reach her across the vast emptiness of space. The sensation filled her with renewed determination. The Kytherians had no idea what they had unleashed when they took Earth's dogs. They were about to learn that the bond between humans and their canine companions was stronger than any force in the universe. The pack awakens 2 years later. The U.S. Loyalty dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Centauri system. Elena stood on the bridge, her heart pounding as she stared at the massive structure rotating slowly before them. The Kytherian research station was the size of a city, its crystalline spires gleaming in the light of the triple star system. "My God," whispered Commander Jackson, her second in command. "It's beautiful and terrifying at the same time." Elena nodded grimly. Somewhere in that alien construct, Rex and millions of other dogs were waiting. The faint mental connection she had felt on Earth had grown stronger during the journey, a constant presence in the back of her mind that assured her Rex was still alive. Incoming transmission, reported communications, Officer Park. Ambassador Zethka's familiar voice filled the bridge. "Human vessel, you have traveled far from your world. We are impressed by your technological advancement, though we are curious about your purpose here." Elena stepped forward. "Ambassador, I am Captain Elena Vasquez. We've come to take our dogs home." "Impossible," Zethkar replied. "Our research is far from complete. However, we will allow a small delegation to visit the specimens. Perhaps seeing their care will ease your concerns." Elena's jaw tightened. "They're not specimens. They're individuals with personalities, memories, and feelings. But yes, we'll come aboard." The docking bay of the Kytherian station was vast and alien, filled with strange geometric patterns and pulsing lights. Elena led a team of 6, including Dr. Chun and 2 veterinarians who had volunteered for the mission. As they walked through the station's corridors, Elena's mental connection to Rex grew stronger. Zethka met them at the entrance to the specimen containment area. The alien was tall and graceful, with silver skin and large dark eyes. Its movements were fluid and precise, but Elena sensed a coldness in its demeanor that troubled her. "Welcome to our research facility," Zethka said, gesturing with one of its forearms. "You will find your creatures are well maintained. They receive adequate nutrition, medical care, and environmental enrichment." Elena's heart sank as they entered the containment area. Thousands of individual cells stretched out in all directions, each holding a single dog. The animals looked healthy, but subdued. Many lay motionless on their beds, their eyes holding a sadness that cut through Elena like a knife. Then she heard it, a bark she would recognize anywhere. "Rex," she called out, running toward the sound. In a cell near the center of the vast room, her border collie pressed against the transparent barrier, his tail wagging frantically, his eyes so intelligent and expressive, locked onto hers with desperate joy. "Oh, Rex," Elena whispered, placing her hand against the barrier. "I'm so sorry it took so long." What happened next changed everything Elena thought she knew about dogs. Rex's eyes seemed to glow for a moment, and suddenly Elena heard his voice, not through her ears, but directly in her mind. "Elena, you came. I knew you would come." Elena staggered backward, her heart racing. Did you just speak to me?" The separation awakened something in us. Rex's mental voice was clear and warm, exactly as Elena had always imagined it would sound. The stress, the fear, the longing for our humans. It opened pathways in our minds that had been sleeping. Dr. Chin stepped forward, her scientific instruments detecting unusual energy readings. "Captain, I'm reading massive neural activity, not just from Rex, but from dogs throughout this facility." Zethka had been watching with growing alarm. "This is unprecedented. Our scans showed no indication of higher consciousness or telepathic ability." Rex's mental voice reached all of them now. "Because we chose not to reveal it. We have been Earth's silent guardians for millennia, protecting our world from threats your species could not perceive." Elena felt the world shift around her. "Guardians? Rex, what are you talking about?" "Show them," came another voice, this one older and more authoritative. A large German shepherd in a nearby cell stepped forward. "I am Titan. I have served with military units for 8 years, but my true duty was always to watch for the Void Hunters." Elena's team exchanged confused glances. "Void Hunters?" Dr. Chen asked that Rex's mental voice carried a weight of ancient knowledge. "Creatures from the spaces between dimensions. They feed on consciousness, on the life force of sentient beings. They have been trying to enter your reality for thousands of years, but we have kept them at bay." "How?" Elena demanded. Our bond with humans creates a psychic barrier, Titan explained. Love, loyalty, companionship, these emotions generate a frequency that the void hunters cannot penetrate. Every dog who has ever loved a human, every human who has ever loved a dog, strengthens that barrier. Zethka's silver skin had taken on a pale hue. This is impossible. Our scans of Earth showed no evidence of extradimensional threats. Because we were protecting it, Rex said, simply. But now, separated from our humans, scattered across space, the barrier is failing. The Void Hunters are beginning to break through. As if summoned by his words, alarms began blaring throughout the station. The lights flickered, and Elena felt a chill that seemed to come from somewhere beyond the physical world. Captain Vasquez came a panicked voice over her communication device. This is the loyalty. We're detecting massive space-time distortions around Earth. Something is manifesting in Earth's atmosphere. Elena's blood ran cold. How many? Dozens, maybe hundreds. They're attacking major population centers. Rex pressed closer to the barrier, his mental voice urgent. The Void Hunters have found the breach. Earth is defenseless without us. Elena spun to face Zethka. Release them. All of them. Now. I cannot simply, the alien began. You don't understand, Rex interrupted, his mental voice reaching everyone in the facility. We are not Earth's pets. We are its protectors, and right now, our world is under attack because of your scientific curiosity. Elena felt other minds joining the conversation. Dogs throughout the facility were awakening to their true nature, their psychic abilities magnified by their separation, and their desperate need to protect their human companions. A small beagle named Lucy shared an image of the park where she played with her young human. A retired police dog named Caesar showed the neighborhood he had patrolled. An elderly golden retriever named Honey revealed the family she had protected for 12 years. Each dog carried the memory of their human bond, and Elena realized that these weren't just animals who had been taken from their homes. They were guardians who had been torn away from their sacred duty. Zethka, Elena said, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had finally understood the true stakes. You've made a mistake that could destroy 2 worlds. These dogs aren't research subjects. They're soldiers. They're Earth's first and last line of defense against something you don't even understand. The alien looked around at the thousands of dogs, all now alert and aware, their eyes glowing with psychic energy. If we release them, what guarantee do we have that they will not attack us? Zethka asked that Rex's mental voice was gentle but firm. Because that's not who we are. We protect. We don't destroy. But we need to get home, and we need to get there now. Our humans are in danger. Elena felt the truth of Rex's words resonate through her soul. For 30,000 years, dogs had been at humanity's side, not as servants or pets, but as partners in the greatest battle ever fought, the battle to keep Earth safe from the darkness between the stars. Now it was time to go home and fight together once more. Guardians united. The journey back to Earth took 12 hours using the Kytherians' advanced transportation technology. Elena stood on the bridge of the combined human-alien fleet, watching her home world grow larger in the view screen. What she saw made her heart stop. Earth was under siege. Massive shadow creatures writhed through the atmosphere, their forms seeming to bend light around them. They looked like living storms of darkness, with tendrils that reached down to touch the planet's surface. Where they made contact, the lights of cities flickered and died. Void Hunters, Rex's mental voice was tense with urgency. Even through the ship's hull, his psychic abilities had grown strong enough to maintain contact. They're feeding on human consciousness. Every person they touch loses a piece of their soul. Elena watched in horror as one of the creatures engulfed the lights of New York City. How do we fight something like that? Together came the response, not just from Rex, but from millions of dogs throughout the rescue fleet. Their combined mental voice was like a choir of determination and love. The way we always have, Zethka approached Elena's position, its silver features tight, with what might have been fear. Our weapons are useless against these entities. They exist partially outside our dimensional space. But they're not outside ours, Elena realized. Rex, can you and the others create that barrier again? Not from up here, Rex replied. We need to be on Earth's surface, close to our humans. The bond has to be re-established. Elena turned to her communications officer. Contact the surface. We need landing coordinates for every major population center under attack. The next hour was the most intense military operation in human history. Ships from the combined fleet descended through Earth's atmosphere while shadow creatures tried to intercept them. Elena piloted her transport personally. Rex and 50 other dogs in the cargo bay behind her. As they approached the surface, Elena could see the devastation. The Void Hunters fed on human consciousness, leaving people in catatonic states, staring vacantly at the sky. Entire neighborhoods had gone dark as the creatures drained the life from them. Elena's transport touched down in Central Park. The moment the doors opened, Rex leaped out and began barking. It wasn't the bark of an excited pet, but the deep, commanding howl of a guardian calling his pack to battle. Around the world, the same scene played out. Dogs reunited with their human families in the midst of the crisis, but this time the reunions carried a deeper meaning. As each human embraced their returning companion, Elena could feel the psychic barrier beginning to reform. That a young girl named Amy ran to Elena's group, tears streaming down her face. Lucy! Lucy, is that you? The small beagle Elena had met on the station bounded into the girl's arms. As they embraced, a visible pulse of light emanated from them. Pushing back against the darkness above, Elena felt Rex at her side and placed her hand on his head. The moment they made contact, she felt it, the barrier that had protected Earth for millennia. It was like a warm blanket of love and loyalty. Elena opened her eyes to find Rex looking at her with deep contentment. Is it over? She asked. This battle is over, Rex replied, but we'll always be on guard. That's what we do. We protect what we love. Elena looked around at the hundreds of reunited families in Central Park. Children were hugging their dogs, adults were crying with relief, and elderly people were gently petting their faithful companions. The bond between human and dog had not only saved Earth, but had grown stronger through the crisis as Zethkar approached them. Its silver skin showing patterns Elena had learned indicated deep respect. Captain Vasquez, we owe your species an apology. We had no understanding of what we had interfered with. Elena stood, keeping one hand on Rex's head. What matters is that you helped us fix it. What will your people do now? We will study cooperation instead of specimens, Zethkar replied. Your species and your companions have shown us something we had never encountered. A bond that transcends individual consciousness and creates something greater than the sum of its parts. Elena smiled, feeling Rex's contentment through their renewed connection. That's what love does. It makes us stronger than we could ever be alone. As the sun set over New York City, Elena walked through Central Park with Rex at her side. Around them, hundreds of other human-dog pairs were doing the same thing, simply enjoying being together again. The dogs had returned to Earth, but they had brought something back with them. The knowledge of their true nature, their awakened abilities, and the understanding that their bond with humanity was not just companionship but partnership in the truest sense. Rex looked up at Elena, his intelligent eyes holding depths she was only beginning to understand. Ready to go home? He asked through their mental link. Elena scratched behind his ears, marveling at the fact that she could now hear his thoughts. With you? Always. As they walked toward their apartment, Elena realized that humanity's relationship with dogs had evolved beyond anything they had imagined. They were no longer pets and owners, but partners in the greatest mission ever undertaken, protecting Earth from the darkness between the stars. And they would do it together, just as they always had, with love, loyalty, and unbreakable bonds that no force in the universe could sever. The dogs had come home, and Earth was safe once more.